You're listening to From a Certain Point Askew, the only Star Wars podcast that needs a new theme song and intro. I'm Jason the Angry Ginger Jedi Guy. I'm inside Monkey Poo Studios. It's where I'm broadcasting from. I got Darth Mathias on the screen. He's in his studio. Darth Mathias, what do you think? New theme song, new intro. Do you have it? Are we introducing it now?
No, you read that with a lot of enthusiasm, which is about as much enthusiasm as it deserved. I'm just I feel like every week we struggle to come up with something, and I thought, I like some new music. I'm tired of our music, so need to work on that. I at one point I talked to a friend of the show about doing it. He's a very busy man. He doesn't have time.
Yeah.
So we're gonna come up with something, and maybe we'll get it out there by May the 4th is a bit of a hopeful deadline, so maybe by the summer. Well, we'll see.
Okay. All right.
But anyway, we're going to jump right into shit. And this is some of the stuff that hopefully I'll have, included in our new intro. But we are from a certain point askew.com is our website. You can reach us on Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky at FACPA. You can email, and we got an email this week, facpapod@gmail.com. Got a couple voicemails this week. So you can do that, 678-FACPA77. That's 678-322-7277. I also wanted to say, calling all writers. We have a FACPA Stories Volume 4 coming up on May the 4th, and I don't care what the fuck happens. We're getting it out on May the 4th.
Okay.
We're not going to miss the deadline.
Okay. So no music, no sound effects.
Doesn't matter.
Maybe you can just be like campfire tales. You don't have to write anything. Just record yourself telling a story and send it in.
Sure. Fine. We'll get it in there. But we will do that for May the 4th. But that's coming up really fast.
It is.
So if you do have a story you'd like to contribute to that, please get it to us as quickly as possible. We also will probably be reaching out to a couple of you to do some dialogue lines and stuff like that, just to mix it up.
Some voiceovers.
I know that there's at least one, maybe two people writing stories, plus you. So hopefully we can get at least 3 or 4 stories in there. We'll try to figure that out. But please reach out to the show if you are working on something and you'd like to send something in. It can be short. Doesn't have to be crazy long. Whatever you want to do.
It can be good. It can be bad. It can be anything in between.
I mean, we had one that was literally, what was it, like Admiral Akbar talking about shitting and stuff? What was that one?
What was that the poem that I wrote?
Yeah, it was a poem, and he was something about him pooping and making a mess and all this stuff.
It's a trap.
Yeah. It's a crap. That's right.
It's a crap. Yeah. I forgot about that
So
one.
it can be as short as that or as long as some of these other big tales that you've told, but anything in between is fine. So please do that.
All right, on the show today, we've got a bunch of stuff here. Question of the week, we're going to get to Andor X-Files. In the news, 2 things, Tales of Underworld and some casting call for the Levy film, which I'm not aware of, so I'm looking forward to that. Andor review, Season 1, Episode 11 and 12. We're going to wrap this Andor Season 1 up, and then we'll go into our Maul Bag, like you said, 1 email and 2 in the FACPA Answering Machine.
So question of the week, the reason I said X-Files is I snagged this picture, and it's a shot from the trailer of Andor Season 2, where they're looking down some little tunnel.
It's that flashlight.
Yeah, the flashlight. It looks very much like you could see Mulder in the background or something like that. So I threw that out to everybody and said, what did they find in this scene? And we got a number of answers here. I am Anakin's father, recent winner of one of our giveaways, and I still have not sent that. Sorry, I will get that out to you as quickly as possible. He said they found Darth Maul's legs attached to the body and head of a spider. There you go. We wondered what happened to that bottom half.
There's the other, So there's the other version is still with us.
Yeah, it could still be kicking and alive. Brown Leader sent that shot of Mon Mothma opening up her collar because she's a little bit hot and bothered.
God, I saw that last night when I was watching, and I was like, I remember this shot. She does it to me all the time. It's like, you like this neck?
John Solo, any relation? Says the Knights of Ni. This is from the Holy Grail.
Yes.
Were you a Monty Python watcher back in the day?
No, I had a friend who would quote it all the time, and it was one of those things where I found it funnier when he was doing it because it was just the like I didn't know what he was doing, so it just cracked me up. And then he would explain it to me, and he'd act out scenes and everything. And then when I watched it, it was just so old. And I was probably 16, 17 when I watched it, so I was like too snooty for old shit. Give me new shit. So, I've gone back and seen scenes. I've actually never sat down and watched the entire movie all the way through.
Well, and there's obviously several movies and stuff. And I mean, I think they used to show it on MTV back in the day. I feel like maybe I'm wrong with that. But I have like real piecemeal memories of Monty Python stuff, but the one that I always think of is, I don't know if you've seen this one, is I don't know what it's in. Maybe it's in the Holy Grail. I think it's in something else, but it's when they do it's supposed to be a soccer final, and it's the Greek philosophers against the German philosophers. It's so fucking hilarious because like the Germans have like Nietzsche and Hegel and stuff. They come onto the field like a proper soccer match, and then the Greeks have like Aristotle and Plato and Socrates, and the second and Confucius is the ref.
Oh boy!
And the second it starts, none of them kick the ball. They're all just walking around like speaking and orating and like thinking.
Right.
And that goes on the whole game until the last minute. And then Socrates scores a header to win the game.
Oh no. It's
so dumb and so funny. That's the kind of shit I remember with them. Is it's just like their ideas are just hysterical, but you're right. It's so old looking.
Yeah.
It's sometimes hard to kind of get totally into, but it's funny stuff. Anyway, thank you, John Solo. Blue Milk Cafe put Waldo in there. They found
Waldo.
Finally. Brown Leader again says, "Oh, Acolyte writers waiting to be called back for season 2."
Oh shit!
They're just huddled in a corner. We got great ideas. Ubaldo Torres says they found the treasures of the Knights Templar taken away from Benjamin F. Gates. Benjamin later donates the treasure to the museums around the world. A little national treasure reference there.
Yeah.
Were they going to make a third one of those?
Supposedly they still are.
Okay.
There's a script being written. Yeah. So
I'll be honest. I watched that silly show they made. I was entertained, but it did not do well.
Yeah. It didn't light the world on fire at all. And they even brought in Catherine Zeta-Jones as the big bad, right?
Yeah. And I mean, you hadn't seen her in a while.
Was there any other? Was it what's this? Justin Bartha? Was he in it?
He was in it. Wait, I'm trying to think now. Yes, he was in it, but maybe just for one episode.
Okay.
So it might have just been those two.
And was the lead, the girl, was she a family member? Was she a Gates as well?
God, for a guy who just said I sort of like the show, you think I'd remember more. You remember a lot. I think she was related to the Gates.
Okay.
I think. I'm not 100% sure of that. But there's some tie that, because she was the main driver of the show. She was the main protagonist. Yeah.
All right.
I enjoyed it, but again, I can understand why it got canceled.
It looked bad. Yeah, well, it was probably an expensive show.
It probably was, yeah.
Yeah.
JD Fish says the Crystal Skull. God damn it.
I think we know where that is, but there could be one in there.
Not a fan of that.
Isn't there one? There's a Crystal Skull on Kira's ship.
Oh, is there? I know they have some indie shit there.
Yeah, I think there's a Crystal Skull. Was it in the ship or was it? Yeah, the ship was where they had the...
Yeah, all those trinkets.
Yeah, yep. And Quinlan Voss's office or whatever, right? Or was it the bar room?
It was in the office. It was in Dryden Voss's office.
Dryden Voss, not Quinlan Voss.
There you go. Not Quinlan Voss. No relation, but same surname. Roe says Grogu's remains. Dude, how dare you? By the way, that doesn't work out on the timeline at all.
No.
Brown Leader again says Scruffy's secret storage unit of collectibles he hasn't told Mrs. Scruffy about yet. Those three guys on Hyperspace Heroes have the biggest collection of Star Wars shit. They should have their own store.
Really?
Every week they're like, "What'd you get this week?" "Oh, I got this and I got this." I mean, it is unbelievable how much shit they have. Hoarders, you might say.
What do you do with all of it? Do they play with their toys?
They do. They get together and play with it. No, but you can see it all in the background. It's like a lot of the times when we have, we talk to guests and stuff, and they got those displays in the background. We got fuck all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's impressive. Brown Leader again says Jay's secret stash of a future from a certain point askew stories.
Oh,
that's where there's
quite a stash. That's for sure.
Okay. They're all in your brain. Let's be real. Max Rebo says the script for the Rey movie. Oh,
which version?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Is it the Stephen Knight version?
Man.
And finally, Brian says the abandoned set of Podtoberfest.
Oh, that hurts. I'm in the fucking set of Podtoberfest, to be fair.
It's true.
The set's still here. Everything else is abandoned.
And everybody else abandoned me.
Yeah.
I'm still here. Thank you, everybody, for your answers. Okay. News. Yeah, we got a new trailer last week. Kind of took us off guard a little bit.
Was that just after we recorded?
I think it was. I think it was that day.
I think it was.
Yeah. I'm not going to do of course it happens after we record, because everybody says that.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those, you're making it about you. Let's not make it about us.
I only know how to do that.
I think we figured another Tales of was coming. We just weren't sure. In fact, I think we even talked about how the Tales of the Bounty Hunters would be kind of cool. That's essentially what this is.
Yeah.
But Tales of the Underworld is what they're calling it. And it's Cad Bane and Asajj Ventress. And we thought we might see Asajj in a longer series. I wonder if this means that we won't now. Probably not.
To me, this maybe is just bridging the gap, and then we'll get something else, because we know she's out there, so...
Well, yeah, so we don't need to go blow by blow here, but kind of overall, what were your thoughts, starting with Asajj? Like, who the fuck is that kid?
I have no idea who the kid is.
I mean, are we gonna? I've seen every theory already, from Jod Nandawad to Balin Skoll. I don't think it's either of those two.
No, I don't either. I think it's, if anything, it's probably either a new character or someone that showed up as a kid in something, and they're going back and doing that story, like where he went. Right? It's a callback, probably. I don't know. I was surprised to see a new
Inquisitor.
Yes.
Yeah, got another one of those.
How many are there? Like I thought we had there was a strict rule of 12.
I don't know what the rule was, but there was all the fourth brother, seventh sister thing.
Yeah.
Like, how high do we go here?
I don't know.
This is getting out of hand.
And did you see the close up on that dude's face? He looked like a puckered up asshole with a helmet on.
Yeah, he didn't look good.
No.
Maybe he was the first one out, and they were like, I don't know, send him out there, see what happens.
He's
dead.
Like, no one's ever kissed me. I'm gonna kill everybody.
Do you think we get any references to Quinlan or her death and resurrection or anything? I don't know what timeline this is in. Like, I don't know what exact time this is, other than it's post.
I would think there's probably going to be something said, but like the other ones, they kind of, every one of them has kind of been spread through the years, right? Mm-hmm. So one of them's probably gonna say something, but also it seems like, if anything, they're gonna be looking for the path.
Oh, could be, yeah.
Right? She's trying to get this kid. That's my guess.
I think you could be onto something there. There's also that one scene, I think it's tied to Asajj's, because, it's a lot of quick cuts, so it's hard to tell, but I think it's tied to her story, where that ship flies in and blows up, or that big water tower looking thing blows up. Yep. It looked very much like when Kanan dies in Rebels. It looked almost like that same scene. I would doubt that would be the case, but that's kind of what it looked like.
Mm-hmm.
Cad Bane... I guess we're going to get some backstory here. It looks like he's confronting one of his old homies who, quote, took everything from him. Is that meant to include the wife and kid?
Oh.
That showed that woman and the kid right after he says that.
You think he was like a stay-at-home dad, had the 9 to 5?
Stay-at-home dad or 9 to 5? Was he actually going to work? Or was he just
stays on planet. He's got a house, he's got the, a mortgage. He's a regular guy, and then fucking green guy comes walking in, supposed to be his best friend, starts laying pipe. He was a plumber. He trusted him. And then,
should have got other quotes.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. They're obviously going to have a showdown, and they have a standoff. And I think we all know how that's going to end. So wow. It'll be cool to see. Are you excited about these two characters? I like these two characters. I'm always excited to see them.
I do too. I don't know if I'm excited about Cad Bane's story, the friendship thing so much, but I guess it would be an interesting side, something that we haven't seen, more humanizing of him for an alien. But if there's anything in because usually it's 3 stories, right? If there's anything in any of them, there has to be even if it's a background thing or something that's mentioned or said about the way his oxygen things work, enough to make you believe, oh, that fucker's alive at the end of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I want that.
I know, because coming out of that, we've got, there's him we wonder, he's supposed to still be alive perhaps. And then I still want to know if we're going to get some more, what's his face? The other one with the same name, kind of similar sounding name, Cobb Vanth.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he was in that Bacta tank, so we know he's alive. We need to see what these people are going to do. We've got a lot of people left on a string here. I want to know what the hell's going to happen to him. Anyway, that's it. It's coming May 4th, the day our FACPA stories drops. And so we're going to review that once it comes out, but looking forward to it. Now we just need Star Wars Celebration to say, okay, but for real though, we got this longer series coming.
I know. I hope so. And also, man, whatever they're doing next, I hope the animation looks like what they're doing with this Underworld.
Yeah,
like, it looks like they've really keyed in on everything. Like the fluid movement, the way everything looks, it's animated, but almost to the point of realism.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the consultant said he didn't like the animation style when he watched the trailer, and I was like,
really?
Okay, all right, well, fuck you. You're not coming on the show then.
Well, it's not fucking Resistance, so
true. Yeah, that's a style we don't need again. Other news item is I like the fact that you said at the beginning, at the top of the show, like casting for Levy's film. I don't know about this. You literally sent me 2 links about this.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. We're trying to find out, and maybe we know now, who's going to join Ryan Philippe in Levy's film.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. I think that one was a bullshit.
Which one?
Are you talking about the Jodie Comer?
Yeah, there's 2 of them. One is Jodie Comer, and the other is Jesse Plemons. By the way, when I was reading one of the articles on this, I shit you not, because we joke now that it's Ryan Philippe, but it's Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
I read an article that literally said Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan.
We just can't get it straight, guys.
It's all of them, man. Well, I mean, if it's Levy, I wouldn't be surprised to see Reynolds show up somehow or another.
I'm sure that's why the person who wrote the article put Reynolds by accident because of that. But it just was funny that next it's going to be Ryan Seacrest. I mean, fuck's sake.
Oh yeah, can you imagine that? He voices one of those 2-headed announcers from the Padres.
Oh God, I was going to say that, or does he just play an Ewok? He's a little guy.
Oh.
Jesse Plemons seems to be the more legitimate one. I think your boy talked about that one. Daniel, what's his name? Richtman? I think he was in on that rumor.
Okay.
And apparently he's supposed to be the villain.
Right. I mean, that he plays a good villain.
Yeah.
What are people calling him? They're calling him Meth Damon?
Well, that's so back in the day when he was on Friday Night Lights, I think when I was talking to whoever at the time, we referred to him as Ugly Matt Damon at the time.
Yes. And Breaking Bad.
Have you looked at Matt Damon lately? I think now we need to call Matt Damon Ugly Jesse Plemons.
Yeah, well, Matt Damon's aging, but fucking the dude looks like a solid. He's like a mix between Jason Bourne and a rider for one of the biker gangs.
Oh, like a Harley Davidson rider?
Yeah, but it's all because he's shooting. Now I want to say
Odyssey.
Odyssey, yeah.
Yes,
yep.
Correct.
Yeah, so he's got the gray beard, the pointed beard. And he's just he's going full Trojan.
I can't wait for that fucking movie.
I know, me neither.
That'll be exciting.
But you bite your tongue on Matt Damon.
I'm just giving him shit. It's just funny because we used to always call Jesse Plemons like the Ugly Matt Damon or whatever, Meth Damon. Yeah. But now I just noticed most recently when I saw Damon in something, it wasn't just that shot of him getting ready for filming, but it was something else. And I was like, he's kind of turned into Jesse Plemons.
Yeah. Well, it's weird when you see like someone do an interview or just pictures and then you see the magic of movies, like what fucking makeup and hair can do, even to a guy.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Well, that's why you see actors who are like 66 and they somehow make them look 42.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no shade on Jesse Plemons. I like him a lot.
He'll play a hell of a villain too.
Yeah, he's always good.
Yeah.
And I mean, this film is supposed to start kicking into gear later this year or early next year. So It makes sense the casting is starting to float around there. So can't wait to see what they come up with. All right, that's it for news.
Hold on. Do you think there's any truth to the Jodie Comer thing? Because either they're recasting her because she just did that bit part, or
you could barely tell that was her.
I know, right? This will be because Marvel does it all the time. They've taken actors and changed them and put them in something else. So what's the difference? Like she's a good actress.
Hey, Andy Serkis has played 2 different characters in Star Wars, right?
Right.
So it happens.
Although the story, you haven't read the book, the Shadows of the Sith or whatever, the whole story about Rey's parents, it's really fucking good.
I haven't read it, but you're right. The reference you're making is that she shows as Rey's mother, right?
Yes.
In the Rise of Skywalker.
Yep.
But it was so quick and so kind of vague, you could easily do something else with her.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm sure there's a piece of actors, when they get into some sort of huge franchise like Marvel or something, where they go, did I blow my wad on that dumb character?
Yeah.
I shouldn't have done it. I wanted to take it for the paycheck and just to get in the door, but now I'm like, they would have made a whole movie about me.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know about Jodie Comer. I mean, who knows? But I think having Gosling and Plemons as your 2 main characters, I think that could work. If it's very not not very Star Wars like to have 2 pretty big names like that in your Star Wars movie.
Right.
But I'm up for it. Okay. You ready for Andor season 1 review of the last 2 episodes? All I can say is rewatching these last 2 episodes, I'm like, thank God season 2 is coming so soon, because I am fucking ready. Like when that end of that episode happened, I was just like, fuck, I can't wait. Like the fact that we had to wait essentially 2.5 years from that.
Oh shit, it's been that long. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank God it's here. And I'll just say too, so many emotional moments in this. They kind of got me, he's done a good job, that Gilroy and his writing staff. We pick up on Narkina again, where Cassian and Melshi are dodging those Imperial search teams.
Hanging from a cliff.
Yeah, that didn't look good. Melshi's like, I can't hold on anymore, man. I'm not going to make it.
I love the way he says, they're leaving. Stop telling me that. It just says you everything that this has been going on for a while.
Well, and you realize when they pan around to the cliff side that they stand out. Those uniforms are not helping their cause.
Right.
I mean, they'd have been better off naked.
Yeah, I think so.
So they stumble onto these 2 fishermen guys we talked about before, and they have a quad jumper. So this is, their ticket out of there. But Melshi forgot the golden rule. Fools rush in, Right. He just fucking guns it, just sprints.
Oh.
If we go fast enough, we'll go right by him, then we won't even have a chance.
These sloppy fat fucks will never catch us.
Well, and to his credit, when they're running by, those dudes just stop and watch him. So he's thinking, we got it.
Yep. Boy, they're full Tom Cruise run it too.
Yeah. It's a full sprint.
Yeah.
And I think I told you that in the interviews they were doing that they said, Melshi said how they both fucked themselves up. One of them sprained his ankle and the other one pulled his hamstring. Old actors.
Man, you got to stretch.
So yeah, you always got to stretch. So they spring some webbing traps and get captured.
It looks like plastic. It looks like the 6-packs. But
yeah,
thicker,
it kind of does. Right. The things you need to cut up and rip apart, or the ducks
right
get
before the
stuck
ducks and the turtles get stuck in there. Yeah.
Right. But those guys are kicking around the ideas of what to do with them. We could sell them for credits, et cetera. And then they start talking about how they're from the prison and they're ruining their water.
Yes.
And I don't think I caught exactly what the resolution was for them to finally be like, sure, we'll take you to Niamos. Is it just because they said we were prisoners and we were being held by the Empire? We don't like them?
I was watching that. The same thing. I was like, well, Matt will have it in his notes, but I felt I missed something too. I think it was just the fact that they weren't the Empire. They proved because they hated the Empire. The Empire was the cause of them ruining their fishing waters.
Yeah, but they bought it pretty quick, and then they're like, "Oh, we'll give you a lift somewhere." I mean,
right?
Okay, it all kind of resolved itself a little too easily. But once they get back to Niamos, that's when he sneaks into his old pad.
What were those fat things called?
I have no idea. I can't remember. I think we looked at them up at the time, but I can't remember.
Okay.
Because the one guy could speak basic, sort of, he was kind of doing some sing-songy, verse, but the other guy could not.
Right.
What was the other one guy's name? Freedy or something? Kept calling him that. Anyway, Cassian gets back to Niamos and he sneaks into his old pad where we saw him before he got arrested, and he finds his box of goodies is still there. Thank God. Mm-hmm. And it's got his dad's old gun. I don't think there were any Pizos in there, but they did have some credits, and Nemec's manifesto was also in there, which is nice for him. So then we go to Ferrix, and Marva has passed away. B2 is not taking it well.
No.
I do like the way they open that up with him kind of his angle, his view of what's going on and all the mumbling in the background and all that.
It is weird how much emotion you feel for that shot of the close-up on his lens, his eye, and just hearing the dialogue over, and then the liquid shaking, And you're like, what is that? But it's just the cup that's on him and everything. But man, great job.
Yeah, they've done a really good job with B2. And Brasso's trying to comfort him, and like I said, he's just a mess. And then that's when, right after that is when we see our first exchange between Corv from Dedra's team and Cinta, who's now working in the cafe across the way.
Yep.
And then later on, they show Corv and Captain Tigo, that prick, informing Dedra of Marva's death, and she's like, "Okay, let them have their funeral. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a nice little trap we're going to set for Cassian to come back." And then we see a little shot of Bix, and she is still a broken woman from the torture. And that's when Corv comes in and asks her, who did she introduce Cassian to? And he thinks it might be Anto Krieger.
Right.
So they still don't know who Axis is at this point.
So, okay. So because I was watching that scene and I was trying to figure out when she broke down, was she breaking down in a way to tell him, shit, you found him and he's dead? Or is that her crying because she's scared that this is going to continue because they don't have an answer yet?
I think she is thinking the latter.
Okay.
I think she's like, great, I'm going to get Dr. Gorst again or whatever his name was.
Right. I can only hear so many kids murdered, man.
I know. I don't want to do it again. Oh, my God. My brain is fried. Please no more. So then on Coruscant, Vel goes to the gallery looking for Luthen and is basically telling Clea, cut the shit with the role-playing. Can we just get to it?
Yeah.
She's like, we have rules here.
Uh-huh. She's like, I looked in the back. The Fondor is gone.
I know. She cased the joint.
Ooh.
Clea says she'll pass along, or no, she tells Clea to pass along that, hey, Cassian's mom died, so let Luthen know. Shit's picking up on Ferrix.
Does anybody speak in code better than Clea?
She does a really good job of talking about things without talking directly about things.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, because she does it later when she talks to Luthen over the comms.
Right.
Yeah, meanwhile at Mon's house, I wrote down Mon Mothma's house of merriment. She and Vel look on in horror as Lita is doing a braided Bible study.
Right.
I guess, with her friends. And
someone called the Elder. Just stumped as to why she's even doing this.
Well, and I like how Vel's like, we're still, like, people are still doing this shit. And Mon's like, well, I guess the young generation is coming back around on it.
And more so on Coruscant than back on Chandrila.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then that's when Mon she has another great tearful moment where she's sitting in her couch just like about to lose her mind.
Well, this is where she connects the dots for Val about the money, and Val was involved in
Aldhani,
yeah.
Right, because whenever Aldhani comes up, anybody who was involved in it just kind of turns their head like, oh.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know.
Look real guilty.
I think I read something about that in Coruscant today. But yeah, she is essentially saying, like, over the years and months, I've been feeding money to Luthen out of my own private funds, but I have a pretty sizable chunk that's missing, and I'm fucked now because of it. So back at Edie's place on Coruscant, turns out Cyril does, in fact, sleep sometimes, and he, in his nice pressed pajamas.
Yes.
And Edie walks in and is like, you have a late night call, you know.
Oh. My favorite scene. I sat up on the couch for this.
It's Linus. And yeah, we talked about it at the time. It's the who's on first conversation because he can't, the communication is bad. Yeah, he's like, the mother. Yeah. The communication is bad, but also he's got a smelter going on in the background. So and he's on a break and there's a line for the phone.
It's refueling. I think we have a minute.
I'm looking forward to your story. That you're going to write about Linus sometime.
What was the story?
You just said you wanted to write us like a backstory on Linus or something, just to give us more context on it.
There was something last episode, I think, where I said that.
Yeah. So yeah, he tells Cyril Cassian's mom died. So he's like, he might show up at the funeral. This is a lead. Mm-hmm. Mama Karn is listening to the call despite Cyril waving her away. And then she says, the mystery of your former triumphs has been vanquished. I can sleep peacefully now.
Oh, my God. How do you not strangle her before she's even in her sleep?
I love her.
Oh.
Later, she goes out to get her nails done, I'm assuming, and Cyril breaks into her safe and steals some money so he can get to Ferrix.
Was that her safe?
I think it's hers, yeah.
Oh, I thought that was like, because memory is like, Mom, you're not in my private box, were you?
I got the feeling that it was hers because weren't there also like jewelry and stuff in there?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, and the plates he took looked like the Beskar plates from Mandalorian,
Imperial.
right?
Yeah, right. Could be. Yeah, I just figured that had to be hers, and that's why he waited for her to leave so he could steal that shit.
So he's robbing from his mom.
Exactly.
Okay.
Taking money from her pocketbook. So then we get the Luthen going to pay Saw another visit, and he gets searched by Saw's men on the way in, and we see that collapsed walking stick, I guess you'd call it, that he uses. But do you still think it's a saber? Because I saw an interesting tweet. Was it today?
I saw it too.
I think it was Star Wars Meg, where the knife.
I don't know who it was, but it was it looks like a giant drill bit like knife, and
it
Andor looks like it's at the end of the. That doesn't mean it still can't be a lightsaber.
That's true. It's just double-sided.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're still on that.
Well, I don't think that it is anymore because he clearly has used it as like a walking stick.
Yeah, he shoots it out almost like you know what it's like. It's almost like an like a 1980s lightsaber we got with the plastic where you,
exactly.
you whip your wrist and it goes.
Yeah.
So he tells Saw tells Luthen, he's in. I will aid Krieger on this raid. I just want to get my shit that you promised me. I want all that stuff. And Luthen's like, yeah, that ship sailed because the ISB knows about it now. And he's like, and we can't tell Krieger because if we do, we'll expose my inside source, and that's too important. Saw becomes very paranoid now.
Yes, he does.
He's like, you have fucking sources everywhere. Are there some here? And I forgot the fact that he goes, yeah, tubes. Tubes is like, me? What?
Don't fuck around,
scene
man.
is pretty fucking comedy. And then, but the point of it being that Luthen's like, if the ISB thinks that, they get this victory essentially by killing Krieger and finding this out, and they'll feel real comfortable with themselves and be like, we got this shit on lock. We're good to go. Whereas, and then they'll relax a little bit. Whereas if they pulled the plug on it, they would know something was amiss and then they'd be digging deeper.
Right.
When he checks in with Clea, this is what you were talking about. She's speaking in code to warn him about not going to Ferrix.
Yep.
And because essentially there's going to be a lot of people in the mix there, so it's going to be dangerous for him because, again, she's trying to protect him. And then that's when his comms get blocked by this Imperial ship coming up from behind him. They're still over Segra Milo, where Saw is.
I thought this took place earlier, and I was like, did I fucking fall asleep or something? I remember, was it last week? Whenever I was watching it, I was like, why did I miss that part? And then right when it started happening, I was like, oh, okay, it was just much later. Because I remember it was in one of the early trailers when it came out, because we couldn't wait to get to that lightsaber ship scene, right?
Right. It was the sabers on the wings thing where he does the spin move and all that. We're like, holy shit, where the hell did that come from?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of forgot until that scene started, that when it happens. He presents this legit Alderaanian ID transponder or whatever for them, but they're still like, fuck that. They start pulling him in with the tractor beam, and that's when he launches those countermeasures. I forgot about that part.
Yeah, that was cool. Badass. Yeah. The tractor beam's going down. No shit. Yeah. It's like we can see it.
So that allows him to get away from the tractor beam, and then the ties come out, and then that's when you said, you get that little twisty move he does to slice them up, and he's able to make the jump to light speed and get out of there. And then the last scene we see in this episode is Cassian finding out from Zanwan that Marva died, and he and Melshi are on that beach in Niamos, and they agree to split up and go spread the word about what the Empire is doing. It's funny, by the way, because is it Duncan Powell is his name, I think, who plays Melshi? When he was in that Q&A I talked about, he was talking about how he's basically like, it was cold as balls when we did that scene, and I'm supposed to be acting like it's this warm breeze on a beach, and I'm freezing my ass off.
Oh, fuck.
End of that episode, and we get to the finale. Back on Ferrix, everyone's slowly coming into town. First up is Dedra, who's got a couple death troopers with her, Krennic style.
Yeah.
And we just see how massive the Imperial presence is in the town now. They're just troopers everywhere. It's fucking pretty pathetic. But the Empire is loosening up their watch a little bit over the city to kind of let Cassian come home. They're trying to open up that trap even more.
Boy, that boy can just sneak around that city no matter what.
He's the most popular guy on the planet, and yet he just walks in there without a fucking mask or anything.
He's the opposite of Waldo.
He is the opposite.
Like, everybody should be able to find him.
They should. I mean, it's cover of night and all, and later he puts his hood up, but still, dude, everybody knows you and is looking for you.
Yeah.
Not a great idea. But before that, Zan had told Brasso, that he spoke to Cassian, told him about Marva dying, and he was worried he's going to come back for the funeral, and that's when that fucker Nurchi overhears this and is like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go get Zan drunk, just enough for me to get confirmation that Cassian's coming back, and I'm going to sell that shit to the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Cassian, when he comes back, he does go to Bix's place and finds Pegla, the guy with the dogs.
Right.
He informs him that the Empire has Bix. He's like, uh-oh, so he's got to go help her out. And then he goes back to that old ship out in the junkyard where, he used to crash. And we get that cool scene where we hear Nemec's words talking about the Empire and the struggle to control others and all that kind of stuff. Then on Coruscant, we get the shot of Mon feeling hot under the collar, the one we talked about earlier, airing herself out a little bit, waiting for Perrin to get in the fucking car so they can leave. God damn it. At first,
if I have to pick your drunk ass up one more time.
Well, at first, clearly they were somewhere together, but at first I was like, is she picking him up from the strip club? Where is she picking him up from?
I like how she sets this whole trap up, though.
Yeah, right. So exactly. So she says, we need some privacy to her driver.
Yep.
And then she just starts fucking laying into Perrin about gambling. He's like, I'm not gambling.
Yeah.
Like for the first time, he's like, I feel pretty good about saying this. I'm not gambling.
Right.
And she even brings up, go to Canto Bight, do what you got to do. Do your guys' trip to Canto Bight. I don't give a fuck.
But don't
stop
do
taking
it at
money.
home. Right.
Yeah, and so she knows that the driver's going to report this back. So we see him saying this back to Blevin, and that's when we learn that Krieger and company have been wiped out, and they're all fucking celebrating and jerking each other off in the ISP headquarters room about it. Dedra gets word of it and was like, "We were supposed to capture the guy so we could get fucking information, you dummies."
Yep. She's not happy.
Well, Portuguese is like, we needed a fuck you moment for Aldani. Like this was our don't mess with us moment. Brasso's being watched like a hawk by Corv and his team, but he manages to sneak out and have a chat with Cassie, and that's when he tells him about Marva's goodbye message. Oh man, that got me.
Yeah.
That was quite touching. And then like everybody's back. Like Cyril and Linus come in and exchange hats like you do.
I know. What was that?
I don't know. Is that solidarity? I don't know what that is. And then Vel's back and giving those puppy dog eyes to Cinta again. I'm standing right in front of you. Hello.
Just give the girl a kiss.
She is a needy girlfriend, isn't she?
Ooh.
Do you even like me anymore?
That's really what it felt like. Yeah.
And then Luthen flies into the Fondor, and that's when he finds Vel, and he's like, hey, let the Empire capture this guy, and then we're going to fucking put a bullet in him because we cannot have this guy telling our secrets. And that's when the anvil starts firing up.
Yep.
Boy, the anvil player has a big role.
Little early.
It's a little early, but he's got quite a presence in this episode because his banging on the anvil is that same kind of ticking clock thing of building up of the whole funeral procession.
Yep.
Cassian's hiding out in a building trying to figure out like how he's going to get to Bix, and that's when Nurchi tells the Empire, "Oh, he's in there," because he saw Pegla walk out of there out looking all sus.
Right.
And then Andor spots Luthen. He's like, "Oh shit, why is he here?"
Mm-hmm.
And do you think he figures it out right away?
Oh, he knew right away. Yeah.
He knew right away. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he doesn't look long enough to see that Cyril is 10 feet in front of him.
Right.
I forgot they were that close to each other.
I know. Cyril walks right past him.
Yeah, and Luthen kind of gives him a look, almost like, I know douchebags like this guy.
Yes.
Dedra then leads a team over to that building where they think Cassian is, but they come up empty because he's snuck through the tunnels.
I love how Cyril sees her and he goes right over to Linus. She's here. Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Like they've had bro talks at night, twirling the phone cord. Like, do you think she likes me?
She did say this to me when I creeped her out. She didn't look that creeped out, so I don't know. I think there's a chance. There was a spark.
Yeah.
I've never kissed a girl. Linus, have you?
What's it like? Linus is like making up all these stories like he's done it a million times.
At camp, man, as a kid. Yeah. Handy under the blanket. Let's see here. What happens? Oh, so then he makes it to Bix, essentially, Andor, while Marva's speech is being played for everybody. By the way, how many fucking extras in this scene? Like I've said before, the scale of the scene is magnificent. And I mean, there's so many goddamn people in this shot. Bix is just fried and afraid to leave the room. Like, no, they'll know, they'll come.
Right.
Oh, God.
Yeah. He's like, you just gotta come with me.
It's fine. Just
and she doesn't even know she's with Andor.
She doesn't know it's him, you mean?
Right. She keeps talking about him. Even when he gets her on this ship, she's like, Andor will find us.
Well, she says he'll find us. I think she's aware because when he walks in, she said, I had a dream about you. Maybe she thinks she's still dreaming.
Yeah, I think she's in fucking La La Land right now.
Yeah, she is. Well, those death shrieks.
Mm-hmm.
He gets her out of there. And after all hell breaks loose, when that prick Tigo flips over B2 after Marva says, fuck the Empire, but they changed it to fight the Empire. The fighting kicks off, and, it's nonstop action, culminating with Wilmon throwing his pipe bomb into the hotel and doing some serious damage, which I forgot set off all those other explosives. It's like a fireworks show.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot going on in the scene. I mean, it goes on for quite a while. Tigo goes full asshole and orders the troops to open fire on the locals. That escalated things quickly.
Yeah, it did.
Luckily, Brasso's able to fend off a couple troopers and get Wilmon out of there. And then good old Pegla pulls B2 out of there. I mean, thank God somebody thought about the droid. Otherwise, he would have just been left behind. Cinta stabs Corv to death, thank God.
Oh.
Got him twice.
Fucking shanks him right in the doorway.
Yeah, I like it. Wait a minute, you're the woman that works at the cafe.
She's like, you never gave me a tip.
Cyril sees Dedra about to have her limbs removed from her body.
Yeah.
and gets her out of there, setting up a beautiful romance for season 2.
Mm-hmm. Now, I could have swore they kissed there. Was that just us?
No, I think you just felt like it was going to happen.
Right, yeah.
And she probably wanted him to, and he was like, he just couldn't get over it. He couldn't do it.
He is not the type of person to make the first move.
No, she needs to plant one on him to get it moving.
Yeah, and the only way he'll do it is, he pulls out a 7-page fucking folded paper that's got consent forms and shit, initial here and dot the I's here. Yeah.
Oh man. Then what happens? Oh, then finally Wilma and Brasso and Jez, who's the gal, is one of the daughters of Ferrix that was helping them, and Pegla and B2, they're all back at the shipyard fueling up, and that's when Cassian arrives with Bix and tells them where to go, which is the Ganji Moon. I forgot to look this up. Is that where we're assuming they are in season 2 in the wheat fields and all that shit?
I don't think so until now, because I couldn't remember until we saw that they actually said where they went.
Yeah, I guess that must be that place.
But we're a year later, so maybe they've gone to the moon, and the moon was just the middle place until they went to wherever they're at now. I don't know.
That could be. And then he tells them, he'll find them. Like she said, Cassian will find us.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not going to go with them. And then back at Mons, we get a real quick shot of the formal introduction of Davos' son and Lita. And they both look kind of psyched. But of course, Mons staying there about to puke.
Yeah. Not happy with this decision.
No. And then by the time Luthen gets back to the Fondor, Cassian's there. And that's when he tells him, kill me or take me in. And then we also get that dope end credits scene where those robots are installing the widgets that they were making in the prison.
Right.
And we see that it's all part of the panels for the Death Star. Oh, shit.
Death Star. Yep.
And I remember this end credit scene. I forgot about the mid credit scene. Did you see that?
I did not.
Where Dedra's pegging Cyril in the storage room. That was hot and steamy.
Oh, God, I'm going back. So the forms were signed. Or maybe not. Maybe they like it that way.
No, she took his forms, threw him on the ground, and turned him around. Yeah. Squeal like a pig, Cyril. Yes, mother. I mean, Dedra.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's a very, very Freudian.
Oh, yeah.
He's attracted to his own mother type thing, because Deirdre is not, she doesn't give off a lot of kindness.
No, much like his mother. Yeah.
Yes,
he's craving for her, affection and approval,
mm-hmm.
just like Edie. So that wraps up the season. What we're gonna do next week is do our preview episode of season 2, where we'll start talking about, okay, what do we think is actually going to happen here? We'll make some predictions.
Yep.
Talk about some of the stuff that we want to see and hope we see. Maybe talk about if we'll get any cameos. Tony Gilroy has been very coy about that, saying nothing will be included unless it really is integral to the story.
Mm-hmm.
We can take some guesses at that, I think. I'll probably do a question of the week, asking our listeners to give us their wild predictions for season 2 as well.
Perfect.
So yeah, we'll go through all that stuff next week, and then we're there. I mean, shit, we're less than 2 weeks away.
Yep.
Fucking awesome.
Three episodes.
3 episodes at a time. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He feels bad for the podcasters.
I know he does.
He knows our struggle. All right, we have an email in the Maul Bag from Max Rebo.
All right.
He says, I hope you had a satisfactory Women's History Month. Thank you, Max. We did. I'm probably the only person who thinks this way, but I enjoyed the setup of episodes 4 and 5 more than the actual heist episode of 6. I can see that. You get a lot of development of those characters. You get a lot of banter with Skeen and Cassian and Nemec and all them. So I could.
But the heist episode was perfection.
That's the thing. When it kicks in, it's pretty fun.
Yes.
I don't know. I really like Lieutenant Gorn and former Stormtrooper Terraman, and was sad to see they didn't survive the heist. Another example of the only path to redemption leads to death. What's the point of turning good?
Okay.
Are you saying this to yourself?
Right.
Karma, right? I mean, you're going to burn in hell, right, Max? I'm not sure what Nemec's death was for, unless it was a representation of the death of the innocents of the rebellion.
I think you nailed it.
I think that's it. I think it's that, and just a reminder that even the most pure, ideologically driven people are prone to be killed for the cause. I think it's kind of showing us that.
Also, I mean, a lot of this stuff has to happen around Andor for Andor to become who he does.
Absolutely.
Who he becomes, he's got to have these experiences and all this shit happen around him for him to change.
And I think it does a lot of things. His Nemec's death is a bit of a driver for Skeen and his turn, even though I think he was headed that way anyway. But
I think so.
It kind of slams the door shut on that for him, because he's I think Nemec was the only guy he really liked.
Right.
And then Cassian's response, and eventual motivation by the manifesto and everything. It all kind of drives that.
It's driving force.
And it also shows you that there's sometimes people die in stupid, dumb, shitty ways because, like, if he was 5 feet to the right, he wouldn't have died.
Right. Yeah.
Cinta definitely killed the remaining hostages, right? Oh, shit. I didn't think about that. Did she kill the family? What else did she do with them?
Why kill them, though? Like, they got away.
Because maybe if you sneak out of there without killing them, they can get you before you get off world.
That is true.
And Cinta's a cold-blooded killer.
She is. Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that, but I bet she did.
Maybe she left the kid.
Hopefully.
Maybe she felt bad for him. Killed the parents.
Yeah. She probably, what she did was she just told the kid to lay on the floor, and then she killed the dad, and he fell on top of him. And that's going to take a while to wrestle out of there. She's off planet by then.
She said count to 100, and every count of 5, she killed another person.
This trauma is going to make you a better man.
That's right. You'll be stronger for it.
What's trauma? Father's throat gets slit.
Okay, so that's it for the Maul Bag. Thank you, Max. Now we have a couple voicemails. The first one is from Chububba.
All right.
Now this is very short. Some might argue too short.
Okay.
So have a listen.
Greetings and salutations, my fellow Star Wars fanatics. It is I, Chewbacca, calling once again. I'm just calling to make sure that Jason's gotten over his face herpes and that it hasn't spread to the rest of the crew.
His what?
Face herpes. He thinks you got face herpes, and that's why you were sick. He's hoping it didn't spread to the rest of the crew.
It was internal. It was internal herpes.
Nobody likes it when that happens. I'm calling in a preemptive strike because I know Andor premieres this week, and I'm excited.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Did we miss a memo?
Yeah. Do we not get the DVDs again?
Or is he thinking by the time they record and release this, it'll be the week of Andor?
Maybe that's what he's thinking.
Fucker. Pay close attention to the end of this.
To finally hear everybody's take on the new season, and I'm sure Jason will be very, very excited as you.
Dan, we lost you, Dan.
Well, that's what happens when you call in from a fucking Nextel.
Dan cut himself off somehow. I was like, did I miss a second message? Nope.
You know, it's sad. It was 7 minutes longer. We missed a whole dissertation there.
Exactly. He got to the end of it like patting himself on the back.
Right.
It was pretty clever.
I give him a lot to talk about. It's probably a whole episode they're going to have to do about that. Well, Dan, the good news is you can call back next week or this week for next week and still be in a week early.
That's true. Good point. I was thinking. I said he was going to do a. Oh, he does a good Homer Simpson.
He does a good Homer Simpson.
I just remembered that. Okay, second voicemail. This is the opposite. This is very long. This is from Brown Leader from Hyperspace Heroes, and I think this is his way of saying, well, since we couldn't make it work to have me on the show, I'm going to tell you everything I think about the last 2 episodes.
Okay.
So here we go.
Hey, guys. Brown Leader here.
Hey.
Wanted to chime in with my 2 credits worth for episodes 11 and 12 of Andor. This has been a great review that you guys have been doing so far, so just wanted to add my piece to it.
Thank you.
And wanted to say that I really feel with these were obviously outstanding episodes. A lot happened, a lot of culminating events. But I wanted to give a special shout out to 2 of my favorite characters in this series, which are Brasso, hashtag Brick Brasso, and Linus Mosk, Sergeant Linus Mosk.
Yeah.
I think these 2 characters were great examples of the depth of writing that they did for this show, in that they were both true characters to their personalities, passionate in what they believed in, on opposite sides of the situation. Brasso was a true friend to the end to both Cassian, Bix, Marva, and Linus. Linus is great. I would love to see a miniseries spinoff of Sergeant Linus Mosk.
Well, you might get a FACPA story soon.
Gilroy had said something about, now that we did this show, we opened the door, you can make any type of genre. He's like, you can even do a Star Wars sitcom.
Oh.
Boom. Right there.
That
you
would
do like
be
an
good.
Office style sitcom with Linus.
Yeah, I think we've brought up the fact that if you were going to do a sitcom, the Office premise would work.
Yeah, because I think it was it where was Tim Meadows? Was it Ahsoka?
Oh, Tim Meadows was in
it was Mandalorian season 3.
Mandalorian.
Yeah,
Mandalorian.
Yeah. I think we might have had the joke in that.
I think you're right. Here we go.
Corporate special forces or something. I think that would be hilarious. But it just, these two characters, I think, added so much depth to the world building of the rest of the characters and story that, like I said, is just a testament to the level of writing in this series. And the other thing I wanted to mention was Marva and her eulogy speech and her conversation with Cass about becoming a member of the rebellion. I think were just what great acting support by good writing. I mean, I think her speeches were even more impactful than Luthen in my mind. They definitely stand out more to me, although I do love the back and forth between Luthen and Saw. Those are some of my favorite moments as well.
Well, I mean, Luthen's speech to Lonnie has a lot of emotion in it, and I think there's a lot when he's doing these other exchanges. But I think the Marva one, the reason why it hits so much is because it really tugs at your heartstrings the most.
Well, and it was in front of a bunch of people where the impact was visibly shown.
Right, that plus, but I mean, like even also with her speech or her conversation with Cassian in the previous episodes, where she's like,
right.
this is, he's like, I'll think about you all the time, and she's like, that's just love and all that stuff. Like that's,
right.
I think it's just a little bit more heavy with the emotions than the Luthen stuff. So
yeah,
her eulogy kicking off this rebellion there. The actress really should have gotten a Golden Globe, Emmy, whatever, Oscar, Grammy, whatever award.
Fiona Shaw for the EGOT.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
He's right, though.
This show would have qualified for. I really feel like she should have gotten an award for her portrayal of Marva Andor. I think she just brought so much to it. Mm-hmm. Loved the little moments in the episode, like the hammer guy up in the tower, bringing it all together during the battle. Watching him knock that stormtrooper off the tower during the fight was great.
I mean, does anybody like their job more on Ferrix than the hammer guy?
He wakes up ready to go. Yeah.
I remember when they showed him in wasn't it in the first trailer we got for Andor?
The first trailer, it was, yeah.
Yeah. He loves
him setting up and dong, the whole trailer.
Bong, bong, bong.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just details. Loved the funeral procession, kind of New Orleans-ish in its style. And I love that the music was just people, a working class society playing their instruments, not a big fancy professional band, just people playing their parts in this funeral procession. And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that whole procession does have a New Orleans vibe, but also always kind of made me feel a little bit like Les Miserables. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it kind of had that vibe to it as well. It's that's all about the French Revolution, and the visuals kind of felt that way. The vibe felt that way.
Just enjoyed the details, the things that added to the show. Really enjoyed that one guy that tried to betray Cass got it in the end.
Nurchi.
Thought that was great. And just the overall, just great episodes. What a way to wrap up the first season, right? Mm-hmm. Looking forward to season 2, obviously, and looking forward to the reviews that you guys will do for those episodes. So, there's my 2 credits worth, and hope you enjoyed it. And sorry about the road noise, driving across state today, but saw your post about leaving a voicemail and wanted to send one in. So, all right, guys, thanks for the episodes. This has been a great one. Enjoyed it so far. And with that, this is Brown Leader signing off. And that's no moon.
Thanks, Brown Leader.
It did sound, thank you, Brown Leader. It did sound a lot more noisy. I did some noise reduction, which kind of made him sound a little more tinny, but it was better than hearing all that background noise. He said he was going to call the line, but he was on one bar. So he's like, I think I just recorded an audio note. It's probably better, frankly, to send the audio note over than it is to use the voice line, but the voice line's there just to make it easier for people. As you can tell by Dan and his message, you might get cut off.
Yeah, no shit.
Thank you for the voicemails. Love the voicemails.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. We'll see you next week with us going into season 2. Thanks for listening. Till next time.
Laugh it up, Buzzballs.
Be spoken.